Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to your New York City crime news video for March 20th, 2021. We have a lot to get into. We have an update regarding the anti-Asian attack that happened in Manhattan a couple days ago. Turns out it involved the daughter of the predecessor to Hillary Clinton. Yeah, Dan Moynihan's daughter. We're going to get into that. We also have to get into another disturbing anti-Asian attack that happened in the 6th Congressional District. Why am I bringing this up? Of course, because the 6th Congressional District of New York has a large Asian population. There have been 2 attacks recently reported, so I just don't understand. It has to happen in the 6th Congressional District, but we're going to get into that. But we do have a story that did happen in the 6th Congressional District as well. We're going to lead off with, and you know the media's vendetta. They have their own agenda. We're not going to criticize them that much. So it takes a private citizen to write his own news story. Where have we gone in 2021? So if they're not going to report it, then I'm going to have to report it. Okay, let's lead off. Woman pepper sprayed in Fresh Meadows. Police investigating as possible road rage incident by yours truly. So I will mention I was an eyewitness to it, so I have a little details about what happened. Okay. So let me scroll down a little bit, then we can read it. The 107 precinct is investigating a possible road rage incident at the corner of 73rd Avenue and 184th Street in Fresh Meadows, involving a black Jeep Grand Cherokee and a blue Chevy SUV. The incident occurred on Tuesday, March 16th before 7 p.m., An eyewitness, who was yours truly, heard horns honking in a nearby home, and shortly afterwards a 911 call came in regarding a woman driving a Jeep SUV getting pepper sprayed as she rolled her window down, having a verbal altercation with the driver of the Chevy SUV and 3 other female occupants of the vehicle. So that's why the police are investigating this as a road rage incident, because there was a verbal altercation. So dumb move by the woman in the Jeep. Why would she roll down her window? I really don't get that. Because this is the further details I've got from an anonymous source. Okay, let's continue here. The woman who was pepper sprayed accepted medical attention and was taken to a hospital in Long Island for further evaluation. Pending family notification, the 107 precinct is withholding the identity of the woman who was driving the Jeep SUV, but sources later confirmed the driver of the Jeep SUV was female. Residents in the area blame an out-of-sync traffic light at the corner of 188th Street and 73rd Avenue that only stays green for 25 seconds, which causes traffic jams along 73rd Avenue during the afternoon and early evening hours, causing drivers on 184th Street to lose patience at the stop sign. Anyone with information regarding the blue Chevy SUV involved in the road rage incident can reach out to Crime Stoppers at 877-577-TIPS, which is 8477. In Espanol, 888-57-747-7482, which in Spanish, that's Pista. The public can also submit their tips by logging on to Crime Stoppers' website at www.nypdcrimestoppers.com or on Twitter at NYPDTips. Also, one note to bring up, since again, I'm a resident of this area, we have the other traffic light at 185th and 73rd. So that stays green for 45 seconds, which in New York City, that's the average. So there's a possibility the Department of Transportation may have to get involved with this incident, because again, we don't know how bad traffic was in the area at this time, because afterwards, when I saw the police came by, traffic was pretty light. So there might have been a chance where this could have been an isolated incident, but yeah, the reason why I'm bringing up the residents is because, again, other people have complained about the traffic light prior to the pandemic. So trust me, 73rd Avenue was always busy pre-pandemic. There was so much traffic. So we'll move on now to our next story, and let's get into it. So here we go. Yes, you are Seeing this correctly, Hillary Clinton's predecessor in the U.S. Senate, Patrick Moynihan, the daughter of the late senator, told Asian women to go back to China. So we have the identity of the Karen involved in this incident. Okay, so a suspect who earlier this week told an Asian woman in Manhattan to go back to China has been identified as the daughter of the late New York Senator Patrick Moynihan, who was succeeded later on by Hillary Clinton. Maura Moynihan confirmed to WABC TV that she was the woman who yelled at the victim in Kips Bay on Sunday, March 14th. But she claimed in a statement to WABC it had nothing whatsoever to do with any bias or any anti-Asian prejudice, has been wrongly suggested. The victim, Maria Ha, age 25, filed a harassment complaint with police after the 4 p.m. clash on 1st Avenue and East 22nd Street. She told cops that Moynihan approached her and said, "You do not belong here. Go back to China," police said. Ha ran home to her husband, Daniel Lee, age 31, who confronted Moynihan as she was getting into a taxi. She told him to go back to Communist China, according to police in the WABC report. Moynihan has not been arrested, nor is her name mentioned in the NYPD paperwork, police said. Cops classified the incident as harassment, a non-criminal violation. Maura Moynihan could not be reached out to the Daily News on Thursday. In her statement to WABC, the late senator's daughter claimed the argument was over a cab. So, obviously this is clearly a racist incident. You know, it's on videotape. How could she get away with this? By the way, again, I just want to mention that Senator Daniel Pat Moynihan served in the U.S. Senate from New York from 1977 to 2001. Later on succeeded by Hillary Clinton. Currently, that seat right now is taken by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. So, just want to mention that. So we're now going to move on to an anti-Asian attack in the 6th Congressional District of Queens. So, of course, I have to bring this up because this has just got to stop. You know, I'm not even going to bring up what happened in Atlanta because that was just sick. Sick. You know, 8 people in a massage parlor. Trust me, I'm not even going to bring that up on here. I want to strictly focus on New York City, which that's what my goal will always be. Okay, so here we go. Group of teens attack a 13-year-old Asian American boy in a suspected hate crime in Flushing. So again, this happened in the 6th Congressional District of Queens, which again typically has a large Asian population. So just disturbing. Okay. Tuesday, March 16th, around 6:30 p.m., the 13-year-old was playing at Bonet Playground at 142-20 Barclay Avenue. Wait a minute. Hang on. I think I might know this address. Hang on here. Please tell me this is not where I think it is. Please tell me. Oh, no! Folks, I hate to say it, but this incident happened where my mom used to work at PS20. Oh! I know I try not to make this personal, but I knew this name sounded completely familiar to me. This is where PS20 is. My mom used to work at that school for 20 years. Unbelievable. Okay, so what happened was the 13-year-old boy got into an argument with 3 other teenage boys. After shoving the 13-year-old to the ground and the 3 boys took turns throwing a basketball at the young man's head, cops said from the 109 precinct. So I'm going to have to bleep this out in the editor, but the quote says, one of the attackers said, "Stupid Chinese, go back to your country," according to officers from the 109 precinct. The 3 teens then ran off. The 13-year-old who had suffered injuries to his head during the beating was taken to nearby Flushing Hospital on Parsons Boulevard in stable conditions. No arrests have been made, so it's just, very disturbing. Very disturbing. And they even bring up in the article the woman with her baby in Fresh Meadows at a Courier Park. It's just disturbing. So they do bring up what happened in Atlanta. So if you don't know what happened in Atlanta, I'll just be very brief about it. A 21-year-old named Robert Long opened fire inside 3 massage parlors in Atlanta, Georgia, killing 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian women. Long told police that the violence was not racially motivated. However, Korean language media reported Long expressed anti-Asian sentiments while carrying out the attacks. So, I really wish this would just stop. I really wish this would just stop. Since this pandemic has started, I understand the virus started in China, but it doesn't give you a right to do this. It doesn't. This has to stop. This really has to stop. Okay, so let me see what I can read. I really don't want to make the video too long here. Oh, we have a fire in Midtown. Might as well bring this up. I know this isn't crime, but this is a big deal. In fact, Channel 7 even covered this. Alright, this happened in Midtown. It ripped through a high-rise building and injured 3 firefighters. Wow. Okay, so, FDNY is investigating the cause of a fire that broke out in the penthouse of a high-rise building in Midtown. At 11:06 a.m. on March 16th, the FDNY responded to a call regarding a fire at 100 West 58th Street. The fire had broken out on the 16th and 17th floors of the building. The fire was raised to a 3-alarm blaze at 12:46 p.m. 150 firefighters were at the scene. The fire was extinguished at 4:34 p.m. 3 firefighters suffered minor injuries as a result and were taken to area hospitals for treatment. The cause of the fire is under investigation, so just very sad. Very, very sad. Wow. Those must be really thick flames. Let me just look up this address very quickly, because I know this rings a bell. This is on the west side, so let's see what avenue it was by. Oh, this is Winsome Park Condo. I know exactly where this is. This is literally right by Central Park South. See? See? And I believe that's 6th Avenue. Yeah. That's Avenue of the Americas. Wow. I bet the M5 and M7 were delayed because of this. Bet it was. So those 2 routes run right to Columbus. Okay, let's move on. Anything else I'm going to bring up that, Let's see. Oh, man, look at this. Armed trio robs 4 people at gunpoint in separate phony Facebook Martin transaction in Manhattan. So where did this happen? Oh, this happened in Washington Heights, it looked like. Let me see. Yeah, definitely. 178th Street, that's Washington Heights. Okay, cops are looking for a pair of crooks who use Facebook Marketplace to commit 2 armed robberies. According to police at 7 p.m. on March 2nd, 2 men arranged to meet with 3 unknown individuals to buy a chain through Facebook Marketplace transaction in front of 501 178th Street. When the 3 unknown individuals arrived, they pulled out firearm and demanded the man's property. The victims complied and suspects took off with the chain, a wallet, both of the victim's cell phone, and cash. No injuries reported as a result of the incident. Second incident occurred at 8:10 p.m. on March 12th. At this time, 2 women arranged to meet with the 3 suspects to buy a chain through a Facebook Marketplace transaction at the intersection of Amsterdam Avenue and West 182nd Street. So yeah, this is definitely Washington Heights. When the suspects arrived, one punched one of the women in the lip and demanded their property. The suspects proceeded to hit one of the victims with a firearm and pointed a knife at the other. The suspects fled the scene with the chain, a wallet, both of the victim's cell phone, and cash. The victims refused medical attention at the scene. So we do have a photo and a video. Wow, okay. So here's a picture of the suspect. So let's see. They have a description. Okay, I guess we'll have to make my own description. So it appears the suspect is wearing a red hat, looks like a black face mask, black jacket, possibly a chain, black pants, and it looks like a red shirt. And possibly black. Yes, okay, the suspect was wearing a mask. Yep. And by the way, very bad posture. Can't help it. I was very close with my physical therapist in high school. Alright, it looks like he's wearing white sneakers. Let me just confirm it. Yeah, black and white sneakers, it looks like. See, this is what I mean. They should at least give a description of the suspect. But no, that's very... They don't want to do that. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Oh, this might be in the Queen's Courier. Maybe not. Two people sought for punching and robbing woman inside Queens subway station. So we have a lot of subway stories and we're going to get into. NYPD is looking for a duo who violently robbed a woman in Queens last weekend. According to police, at 3:45 p.m. on Saturday, March 13th, a 23-year-old woman was in the Queens Plaza subway station when she was approached by an unknown woman. The suspect threw the woman to the ground and took her iPhone from her aunt. The suspect fled the scene with an unknown man. The victim suffered injuries to her hand. See, that's the problem. That's horrible typing. Right? When I did my article about Fresh Meadows, I proofread it. Right? The victim suffered injuries to her hand and face and was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, Queens, in stable condition. So we do have a video of the suspect. Oh, now they decide to give us a description. Okay. Okay. I mean, really. Really. How unprofessional is the media these days? Ugh. Okay, the first suspect is described as light-skinned man between the ages of 25 and 30 years old, standing 6 feet to 6 feet, 4 inches tall, and weighing 180 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, black hat, black and gray backpack. The second individual is described as a black, dark-skinned woman between the ages of 25 and 30, standing 5 feet, 5 inches tall, and weighing 200 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black jacket, black pants, and glasses. Okay. Interesting here. This also happened in Queens. Where this happened. Oh, Pine Power LI bought this up. Yeah. Even though it wasn't Long Island related, there was a shooting in Baisley Park. Yeah. Let's see what happened here. Detectives booked a 28-year-old man on Friday for his role in a bloody triple stabbing near Queens Baisley Pond Park on Wednesday night, on March 17th, that left one of the combatants dead. Jose Reyes, and no, this is not the baseball player, whose last known address was East 30th Street in Manhattan, so it sounds like Midtown, was charged with murder, assault, and criminal possession of a weapon for his role in the shooting on St. Patrick's Day that left Ishmael Harvey, age 33, of 146th Street in South Jamaica dead. Sources familiar with the investigation said Jose Reyes and Harvey were involved in an apparent dispute that may have stemmed from shelter housing, possibly at the nearby Garden Inn and Suites Hotel. Police said the violence broke out at 10:11 p.m. on March 17th at the corner of 133rd Avenue and 150th Street. Officers from the 113th Precinct responded to the location after receiving a 911 call about an assault in progress. When they arrived at the intersection, cops said they found Reyes, Harvey, and a 40-year-old man, all of them with stab or slash wounds. The 40-year-old unidentified man suffered stab wounds to his right leg and right hand. Harvey, meanwhile, had stab wounds to his chest and back. Reyes, meanwhile, had a slash wound to his left leg, authorities said. Officers also recovered a knife and box cutter near where he was found. So, more details here. EMS units rushed the 2 victims to Jamaica Hospital. The 40-year-old unidentified person is listed in stable condition. Harvey was pronounced dead after arriving at the medical center. Alright, so the good news is Jose Reyes was apprehended. So therefore, cue the Law and Order music. Alright, so there's some happy ending at least. Cops, meanwhile, initially took Jose Reyes into custody and brought him into Jamaica Hospital for treatment of a slash wound. He was charged on Friday, March 19th following questioning. So likely what's going to happen here, they're probably going to have a trial. Because they're probably going to have to convict him, and then there'll likely be a sentencing period. Just received a news tip regarding an incident that happened in Times Square. Man steals idling van with teen inside and crashes into scaffolding in the Times Square vicinity. So let's see where this happened. Delivery man and his 15-year-old son are recovering after a man's idling van with a teenager inside was stolen and crashed into scaffolding early this morning. The 38-year-old, who was an employee at Gian Piero Bakery in Astoria, had left the van idling and he was delivering bread to businesses on West 44th Street in Times Square at around 5:30 a.m. That's when police say another man stole the vehicle, drove it down a block, and crashed into scaffolding at the corner of West 45th Street and 7th Avenue. Oh, that's unfortunate. I know that area very well because I used to walk down 45th to get over to Times Square for the subway. The delivery man suffered a broken leg and broken hand after he grabbed onto the van as it sped away. The 15-year-old boy was in the van at that time. It is not clear if he was injured. They were both taken to the hospital. The 30-year-old suspect was arrested and was later taken to Bellevue Hospital for a psychological evaluation. So, we have a suspect. Law and Order music. Okay, good news on that end. Police say charges are pending. So we do have a video from WABC I want to quickly play. It's only 35 seconds. Let's see if I can resume it. Okay, let's see if I can pause it for a second here. I do apologize. There we go. So this is from FNTV. Okay. No, I don't think this is the Dwayne Reed in the area, unless I'm wrong. This might be a separate Dwayne Reed. Oh, no. This is probably the Dwayne Reed on 7th. Yeah. Hope it's not the main big one by the police station. Normally you have the police station in that area. Yikes. But there you go. Got this tip in just now from Channel 7. Okay, moving on now. I don't really want to go into the Bronx because then I'll make the video too long here. There's a lot of stuff that happened in Queens. Oh, I gotta read this. Homeless man cuffed for assaulting woman on NoHo Street. Yep. It's definitely happened in Lower Manhattan, I could tell. Detectives cuffed a homeless man Friday assaulting an 18-year-old woman on a NoHo Street in a random attack earlier this month. Paul Becks was booked on a second-degree strangulation charge for the assault that occurred at 12:30 p.m. on Monday, March 1st in front of a store on East 8th Street near Mercer Street. Law enforcement sources said Becks approached the victim without warning and struck her with an unidentified hard object. He then grabbed her by the throat, causing pain and bruising. Moments later, the suspect took off on foot in an unknown direction. Officers from the 6th Precinct and EMS units responded to the incident. The victim suffered minor injuries but refused medical attention. So let's get into the subway incidents, because we really have to get into 2 incidents here we have. So we'll get to the first one at Herald Square. Okay. Herald Square here. Bronx-bound D train struck and killed a man at Herald Square early Saturday. So this happened today. Wow. The victim, a man in his 40s, was on the track bed and just inside the tunnel at the 34th Street Herald Square station in Midtown when the train plowed into him at 5 a.m., cops said. The man's name was not released. So, just a brief article here, but that is disturbing. And then we have this. Man slashed by stranger while riding a train in the Bronx. Wow. A man was slashed during a fight on a number 6 train in the Bronx, the latest attack in the growing trend of violence in the subway. The victim, who was in his 30s, was sitting on a number 6 train rumbling towards Cypress Avenue Station in Mott Haven at 9:30 p.m. on Friday, March 19th, when he got into an argument with the stranger in the train car. As the two fought, the other men pulled a blade, cutting the victim just above his lip. His attackers describe him as a black man in his 40s sporting a gray jacket, brown hat, and a gold tooth, exited the train at Cypress Hill Station and ran above ground, police said. So, yeah, see that? That's Cypress Hills in the Bronx. Sadly, I think we're going to have to use this as my thumbnail. Yep, because they have caution tape over there. Okay. Victim refused medical attention and police are investigating. No arrests have been made. So. Oh, and look at this. Another incident happened on Friday. 37-year-old man was stabbed in the arm and the leg during an unprovoked attack on a Crown Heights 4 train rumbling into Nevin Street in Brooklyn. Wow. This is just very disturbing. Very disturbing. We have another separate incident similar to what happened in Midtown in Brooklyn. And I actually want to thank Charlton D. Souza from Passengers United for making me aware of this, because Loud Labs actually had an exclusive video of what happened. So it says here, happened on Friday, March 19th, 10:20 p.m. in Flatbush when a 43-year-old woman jumped in front of a northbound C train at the Nostrand Avenue station in Fulton Street. She was pronounced dead on the scene. So, awful, awful incident. But we know that Loud Labs New York had a video. In fact, I'm not going to play it, but I found out that this was from Loud Labs, and they were on the scene last night. They had like a 2-minute video of what happened, of course. So let's see what yeah, here we go. Alright, so it said happened in the convoy to the 79th precinct in Brooklyn. Okay, well, at least we know that we have a video of it. Well, not the particular incident, but just when the police were, you know, coming over there in Brooklyn. Yeah. So, just sad, sad, sad. I didn't even know about this Nostrand incident until Jonathan made me aware of it. Okay, so we have a shooting in the Bronx. Normally Channel 7 would cover this, but apparently they didn't. Woman was shot in the Bronx. Critically wounded, age 20. Let's see where this happened. Cops found the woman in a third-floor apartment of a building on Hull Avenue near Gun Hill Road in Norwood about 10:10 p.m. Police believe she was shot after an argument, police said. Police rushed her in a squad car to Jacoby Hospital. She was in critical condition late Wednesday night. Police have recovered a firearm that might have been thrown from the apartment window. They did question a man at the scene. Murder suspect mistakenly was released. He's back in custody, so that's some good news. But how did he get out? I don't get that. Alright, a man accused of attempted murder was mistakenly fled from a jail thanks to a glaring clerical error back in custody on Friday. After being on the lam for nearly a week, Nakeem Meekins surrendered to Bronx authorities with his lawyer shortly after midnight. So a clerical error? Really? I mean, I don't know how in the world does this happen. How does this even happen? Oh, and this is so stupid. This is so stupid. Look what it says right here. Look what it says right here. Mickens was arrested on March 10th for attempted murder and was supposed to be held on a $300,000 bond. But Rikers Island officials earlier this week set him loose Monday after a Bronx criminal court clerk mistakenly marked him for release without bail. Ah! So this is the bail reform, probably. Ah! That's what happens with bail reform. Bronx judge, realizing the clerk's mistake, issued a warrant for Meekins on Thursday. Oh, and then look at this. They also screwed up with the bail reform. There was an accidental release of a Brooklyn murder suspect who is still on the run. You've got to be kidding me. Ah. Okay, so this suspect in the Bronx is facing an attempted murder charge. He allegedly shot a gun at two people on the street but failed to hit them back on August 30th of 2020. Okay. Oh, and then look at this. Prosecutors asked the judge to lower the bail on reckless endangerment charges from $30,000 to $1. But they did not ask to change the $300,000 bond in the attempted murder case. Oh, and then look at this. A clerk allowed the $1 bail. Ah. Alright, so the other suspect, Chris Buggs, who was mistakenly released, he was released after another clerical error. And they was listed for eligible on release on time served. Ugh. I don't even want to get into this, but you get the point. You get the point that, again, this bail reform has got to be overturned. Alright? Why are they letting all these people out by accident? You know who to blame. Our wonderful governor. You think he can get impeached for sexual harassment? He should be impeached for endangering public safety. Alright? That's what he should be impeached for. But again, you don't want to upset the liberals. So, don't make them cry and upset. I'm sorry to make this political, but, ugh. We're going to read more and more article from the Daily News. Then we'll get right to other stuff from the Queen's Courier. Now, as you know, or if you don't know, maybe you're just new to these updates, but 4 years ago, there was an awful Grand Theft Auto incident in the Bronx involving an ambulance. And it's been 4 years since it happened, involving EMT Yadira Araro. What had happened was she was minding her own business, then all of a sudden the suspect decided to jack the vehicle. Vehicle got jacked in the Bronx, and the EMT got ran over by her own vehicle. So, awful Grand Theft Auto incident, because the suspect thought he wanted to take a joyride. And here we are 4 years later, and somehow the suspect has still not faced trial after this incident happened in 2017. Let's read this. And believe it or not, Channel 7 covered this. And of course they would, because Channel 7 was the first to break the story 4 years ago. Okay, here we go. FDNY EMT Adina Aurora lived to help the people of New York up until her final moments 4 years ago, when police say a career criminal ran her down with her own ambulance. As Aurora's family still waits for the criminal justice system to bring her alleged killer to trial, her colleagues and loved ones gathered Tuesday, March 16th, on the Bronx corner street where she died for a moment of silence in her memory. So there's just some quotes I'm not going to read, but you get the idea. So this was a big deal. I remember when it was all over the news 4 years ago. And this was sadly the funeral in March of 2017. Okay. Where's the part when they mentioned the trial? Okay, here we go. Case against 29-year-old Jose Gonzalez, who was charged with her murder, has dragged for years, with the court holding hearing after hearing to determine if he is mentally fit to stand trial. As the coronavirus pandemic has caused further problems, the lockdown delayed an examination by an expert from the Bronx District Attorney's Office, and prosecutors are awaiting the expert's report. Gonzalez's next appearance in Bronx Supreme Court is scheduled on Tuesday. So mark down the date. He will be facing another appearance on Tuesday, March 23rd. So let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, look at this. They even have a plaque for her in the Bronx. Right. So, the reason why this was the Grand Theft Auto incident was because Gonzalez was allegedly high when he jumped on Aurora's rear bumper in Soundview on March 16, 2017. The 44-year-old mother of 5 boys stepped out of the ambulance to investigate, and Gonzalez jumped into the vehicle and took off. He ran her over twice and dragged her into the intersection of White Plains Road and Watson Avenue. So, again, this is why this was a Grand Theft Auto incident, because the suspect tried to steal the vehicle. The EMT driver was trying to save her ambulance, but sadly, that was an unfortunate incident. You know, there's nothing really you could do. If your vehicle's getting stolen, just report it to the police. But that's what happened. That's why this woman isn't with us, because she didn't do the right thing. Yeah, so there I have a couple more articles we're going to read from the Courier. First up, fire in South Richmond Hill. 2-alarm fire broke out at South Richmond Hill building on Tuesday evening, on March 16th. Man, how many incidents happened on March 16th? I'm sorry to pause for a second, but we had, March 16th. How many incidents were reported in one single day? My goodness. Okay, the FDNY got a call about a blaze inside a home at 107-40 122nd Street at 6:30, according to the authorities. About 30 minutes later, the fire was elevated to a 2-alarm, bringing the 106 firefighters to the scene. The inferno made its way to the top floor of the building and was placed under control around 7:45 p.m. Thankfully, nobody was injured. That is good news. Fire marshals are investigating the cause of the fire. Alright. So we have a couple violent incidents that we need to bring up here. Cops seek shooter who fired multiple rounds into man in Irvine. This is the Rockaways. Okay. Police are searching for a shooter who fired several rounds into a 29-year-old man in Irvine earlier this month. This happened last week. How can you say earlier? Seriously, how in the world do you not proofread? Okay. On Sunday, March 14th at 1 a.m., a 29-year-old man was approached by an unidentified man outside of 348 Beach 72nd Street. The man took out a handgun and fired multiple shots at the 29-year-old, who was hit in the torso, buttocks, elbow, and ankle. The shooter then ran off on Beach 72nd Street on foot. The 29-year-old was rushed to Jamaica Hospital, where he was treated for his gunshot wounds and was stabilized. No arrest, investigations ongoing. So, we do have a video of the suspect, so I'll try to give you a description. Again, not giving a description. So it appears the suspect is wearing jeans. Let's see here. Yeah, saggy jeans, black sneakers, black hoodie. Okay, so that's the way I can describe the suspect. But again, when you do these crime stories, you have to give a description of the suspect. And it seems I had to do it twice in this video. Okay, here we go. Man shot in buttocks during argument at Ponomac Open House. Let me put this one over here. That way I don't get confused. Some people apparently would do anything for a deal on an apartment. Detectives in Queens are looking for a suspect who shot a man during an argument that erupted while they checked on an available apartment in an open house in Ponomac. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is the confines of the 107. Yep, 65th Avenue and 161st Street. I know where this is. Right by the precinct. Law enforcement sources from the 107 said the shooting happened at about 4:05 p.m. on March 18th at the corner of 65th Avenue and 161st Street. According to police sources from the 107, the shooter and the 37-year-old male victim got into a dispute after attending an open house for an apartment availability nearby. The reasons for the dispute were not immediately known. Then the words turned physical, when the gunman pulled out a firearm, a handgun, and shot the victim once in the buttocks. The suspect then fled on foot in an unknown direction. Okay. Later on, units from 107 did respond. EMS transported the wounded victim to New York Presbyterian Hospital in Queens, formerly known as Booth Memorial Medical Center. Thankfully, the good news is the victim was treated and released. Oh, and here we go. This is what I talk about, giving a description of a suspect. On Friday morning, the NYPD released video footage of the gunman. Police described him as a man with a dark complexion who wore a black hooded jacket with white fur around the hood, blue jeans, and white sneakers. By the way, folks, I'm sorry if I'm focused on Queens, but in this video, a lot more incidents have been happening in Queens. It's just the way the news cycle apparently has gone. Let me see here. I want to zoom out so you can see the video. Okay, so let me go back to the original size. Okay. Second to last story. Queens man in custody after his neighbor was brutally beaten to death with a pipe in Jamaica. Queens man is in custody after he beat his senior neighbor to death with a pipe early Friday morning in Jamaica on March 19th. According to sources within the NYPD, at 1:28 a.m., officers responded to a 911 call regarding an assault in progress at 89-32 138th Street. Upon their arrival, police found a 71-year-old man in apartment 3C unconscious and unresponsive with several trauma to his body. A preliminary investigation found the victim's upstairs neighbor, a 37-year-old man, had heard noises in the victim's apartment prior to the incident. The man then allegedly forced his way into the apartment and beat the victim to death with a metal pipe. EMS rushed the location and declared the victim dead at the scene. His identity is being withheld pending family notification. The 37-year-old neighbor was brought into custody from the scene with charges pending. The investigation remains ongoing. Yeah, so this originally appeared on AM New York. That's how I saw it. Oh, and then we have this incident in Elmhurst. This is how we're going to wrap up the video. Police arrest East Elmhurst man following fatal crash in Maspeth. Police arrested an East Elmhurst man on criminally negligent homicide charges after he allegedly fatally crashed into a 35-year-old motorist on the BQE near Maspeth earlier this week. Okay, I don't know what happened here, but last Monday was March 15th. So again, this is what I mean about not proofreading. Okay. There was reckless driving and speeding after the crash on March 15th that killed 35-year-old Jesse McCallop. McCallop was pulled over along the right shoulder of the eastbound BQE near exit 39 in Maspeth when he attempted to merge into the right lane on Monday at 8:45 p.m. At the same time, Dersivic was driving a 2017 Dodge Charger speeding towards McCallop's Hyundai as the 35-year-old was merging. Dersivic slammed into the back of McCallop's car, sending it barreling into the right lane concrete wall. EMS personnel arrived to find McCallop, who was from Staten Island, trapped inside the car with severe head trauma to his body. He was taken to New York City Health Hospital's Elmhurst when he was pronounced dead. Dersivic remained at the scene following the crash and was not injured, and the investigation is ongoing. So, this is a sad incident. You would think Channel 7 would cover this, but nope. Nope. Alright. So with that, we're going to wrap up this video. And lot that had to get covered again. And I'm sure I'm going to have to do another video next week. Because as the weather's getting warmer, it's going to get worse. And I am praying that I know we're only a few weeks out from Easter, but I'm just going to give a warning now. Be on high alert around next upcoming weekend, because Passover is coming up, and I'm very concerned that there are going to be a lot of anti-Semitic attacks coming up. Alright? I'm very worried about that. The media may not cover it. So if I hear something, I'm going to bring it up. Because with the Asians lately, it's just so much sentiment, and I have a bad feeling. It's just my gut. And, I hate to say it, I was technically correct that Joe Biden was going to take a bad step while he was president. Look what happened to him on Air Force One the other day. So, I just have this superstition. I don't know why. It's intuition. You can thank my mom for that. So, please, if you are observing Passover next weekend, stay safe out there. And if you are involved in an incident, please report it. Because we need more people to be vocal. So, with that, until the next one, please take care.